Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Julie stumbles into an unanticipated situation at the sanitarium. Paulina worked on her laptop in her insulation room. Sarah entered, dressed in defensive gear, to check on Paulina. I do appreciate how hard this must be, but the treatment is essential to your recovery plan, as you know, Sarah said. Paulina jounced yes. I do know that I'm literally radioactive. And, Sarah, are not you upset? Paulina asked. Sarah explained that the radiation emitted dropped significantly during insulation and that she was taking the proper preventives. Sarah asked how Paulina felt. Paulina admitted that she was revolted, and Sarah put in an order for meds. Anything differently? Sarah asked. Paulina thanked Sarah for her medical care. With a grin, Sarah handed Paulina a sign that read, "We love you," from Abe. After Sarah gutted up, she met up with Abe in the hallway. How is she doing? How is she really doing? Paulina tends to put on a stalwart face, Abe said. Sarah verified that Paulina was doing well and demanded to make rest her only job until her radiation situations dropped. God prohibit she stop working. But that is what makes her the stylish, Abe said. Sarah agreed. I do hope she takes this time for herself, and she lets her body recoup after the recent trauma and surgeries. But I also know Paulina, Sarah said. Sarah noted that if anyone could move Paulina to rest, Abe was that person. I will see what I can do, Abe said. Sarah handed a tablet to Abe, and she left him to videotape converse with Paulina. When Paulina answered the videotape call, she talked about the backlog of work she had. Abe gave Paulina some advice on her workload, and she assured Abe she could handle the challenge. Paulina, my love, you can do anything you put your mind to. But I want you to rest and get back to full strength, Abe counseled. So, I just sit on my hands, indeed after getting a communication J. Has called a press conference for hereafter without any notice to my office? Paulina said. Paulina asked to call Abe back so that she could J. For further information. With a shriek, Abe jounced yes. Paulina called J's office, and she demanded to speak to J, but he wasn't available. I'll be awaiting his call, Paulina told the adjunct. Julie walked the hallways of the karaoke's manse with a glass of wine, and she murmured to herself about her bad mood. Too numerous guests. Too important drama. Too numerous babies howling. Children stampeding up and down the staircase. And cookie motes and everything. Well, now it's time for me to relax with a really good book, Julie said. As Julie approached her bedroom doorway, Thomas ran around the corner and knocked the glass of wine out of her hand. Thomas apologized, and Julie asked him why he'd been running in the house. Chad caught up to his son, and he apologized to Julie, too. We were playing hide and go seek, Chad explained. Julie jounced knowingly. However, you can stay retired for quite a while, Chad said, if you play it right. I should have tried that, Julie murmured. With a mime, Chad conceded that there were a lot of people in the house. Thomas noted that the cold rainfall was also to condemn. Chad promised to be more aware with play in the house, and Julie retired to her room. Thomas was eager to get back to their game, but Chad made Thomas promise not to run in the house or enter the bedrooms. Okay, whatever, Thomas said. Chad started to count as he walked down, and Thomas ducked into the nearest bedroom to hide. In the karaoke's living room, Constantine thanked Maggie for her liberality and fellowship. You have saved me in ways nothing ever has. But it would feel that my time then's truly done, Constantine said. When Maggie asked if there was a way that Constantine could stay in the United States, he noted that the only option was marriage. Will not that shoot up a lot of red flags? Wouldn't they see right through that? Maggie asked. Maybe you're right, yes, Constantine said. With a boo, Maggie noted that she had access to a lot of great attorneys that could find a loophole for Constantine. As always, you're far too gracious, Constantine said. Maggie promised to find a way to extend Constantine's visa. Xander entered the room with Victoria in his arms. There they are. Maggie Blatt. Sleeping Beauty and the Beast, Xander joked. Maggie told Xander that she had heard the good news. What good news is that? Constantine asked. Xander explained that he'd been completely vindicated of the tried murder charges. Constantine complimented Xander. When Constantine called Xander lucky, Xander argued that he didn't need luck because he'd been innocent. Did I hear you are having visa trouble, Constantine? Do you need a lift to the field? Xander asked. Maggie informed Xander that she had offered to have her attorneys review Constantine's visa issue. Constantine should be suitable to choose when the right time is for him to go back to Greece, Maggie said. Constantine thanked Maggie for her support. He could at least consider when he might have worn out his hello and exit courteously, Xander murmured. Constantine agreed but said he felt at home in Salem. We all know that you cannot go home because certain coalitions of a certain felonious syndicate in Greece have made it veritably clear that you can no way go back, Xander said. Maggie argued that she believed that Constantine would be suitable to return to Greece when he was ready. Those words mean the world to me. I so look forward to going back to my ville, and I look forward to eventually being suitable to take you back to that corner of the world, Constantine said to Maggie. Xander wrinkled his face in disagreement. Sarah was saying you were interested in perhaps returning to work at Titan, Xander said. I was considering it, Maggie admitted. Xander and Constantine both agreed that Titan would be lucky to have Maggie back. Maggie asked Xander if he'd considered returning to Titan. With a mime, Xander admitted he'd considered the idea, but he'd wanted to spend his time at the review. I am hoping to use my platform there to more serve the public's stylish interests, Xander said. Victoria fussed, and Xander noted she was teething. Maybe a little whiskey on the epixies, Constantine suggested. I do not suppose so, Xander said. Maggie went into the kitchen to get the teething ring from the freezer. As Maggie entered the foyer, she ran into Julie, who was covering her cognizance. Victoria clearly has a set of lungs on her, does not she? Maggie said. Julie forced a smile and jounced in agreement. You know I love you, and I am eternally thankful for your hospitality, but I got to get out of this place, however, Julie said, if only for one night. Maggie asked Julie if she was okay. Julie said she was fine, but she demanded a break from the chaos. Maggie agreed to watch Doug while Julie spent the night down from the manse. I will be by eventually, hereafter autumn-ish, Julie said. By the time Maggie returned to the living room with the teething ring, Victoria had calmed. Chad walked by and asked if anyone had seen Thomas. That sprat is like Olympic position hide and seek gift, Chad fooled. Xander said no, and he asked Chad if they could talk about work. Constantine invited Maggie to join him on an evening perambulation so that Xander and Chad could talk. After Maggie and Constantine left, Chad noted that from Xander's face, Xander wasn't a big addict of Constantine. Kind of an understatement, Xander admitted. I allowed. He was redeeming himself. He's been enough good with the kiddies since we moved by, Chad said. Xander rolled his eyes, and he changed the subject to the Horton House repairs. With a laugh, Chad said the repairs were going well. So, what is over? You wanted to talk about work, Chad said. Xander told Chad that he planned to spend further time at the paper, since the charges had been dropped. That is great. Especially since we are poised to break some enough big stories this cycle, Chad said. Xander asked about Everett. With a mime.